Here he is. Mate, Tom, you got me?
Hello, hello, hello.
Mate, how are you?
Very, very well, thanks, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Just had a quick nap before we went live. And hang on, I do this every time. Leave the volume on my computer. Bloody idiot. Every time. But yeah, no, I had a quick nap. Obviously, after staying up a bit later watching the NFL this morning, so all ready to go. But yeah, let's get stuck into it. I'll do the usual couple of things, dead air space, then yeah, we'll get stuck into it.
Let's do it, man.
Hello and welcome everyone to the AFL Fantasy Fanatics AFLW Fantasy round review of the season. We're recording live on Twitter and YouTube on Monday, the 2nd of October, after the completion of round 5 of the AFLW Fantasy season. I'm your host and AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Bales, and you can find me on Twitter at BalesDT. As always, if there is a player or question you would like answered or discussed, please tweet us in the space below or comment in the live chat on YouTube if you are watching there. And joining me is my co-host, as always. You'll know him from GameDay Squad and a legend of a bloke, is Tom, and you can find him at Tommy GDS on Twitter. Tom, mate, how are you?
Mate, I am very, very well, thank you. What a massive, massive weekend of sport. And I always love coming here to be able to break down everything AFLW. So I'm excited, man. Let's rip into
Yeah,
that, eh?
mate. Yeah, it started off with the grand final on the Saturday, NRL grand final on the Sunday. So, mate, you get to enjoy those
Yep.
two on the weekend?
I did. And my, events didn't stop there. As you mentioned, NFL. And if you do know a little bit about me and you went to my Twitter page, you know I'm a big Boston Celtics fan, and we just traded for Drew Holiday as well. So, mate, everything was firing on the weekend for me, dude. It was a ripper one, eh?
Yeah, mate. Everything was going on. It's a good weekend if you were a sports fan, that's for sure. But, mate, let's get into how we went in AFLW fantasy at round 5, which is actually the midway point of the season, which has gone very, very quickly. And it's a bit of a shame that we've only got half the season to go. It would be hopefully be good in a few years' time to have longer seasons. But, mate, how did you go in round 5 across the formats, and what was your score and rank?
Yeah, mate. So round 5, I totally agree with you. First of all, it's going way too quick. How the hell are we in past
I know.
round 5
Yeah.
already, heading into round 6? But for Game Day Squad this week, man, really good, really good. I actually cracked the 2,000 point mark. I got 2023 as an exact score. So just the year there. Thought that was a little bit funny. But yeah, look, I'll tell you what, my +3 for has to be Hannah Priest. I was thinking about it there, mate. She was on fire. As a defender, 157 points from my silver card there. Just absurd. Probably a little bit unlucky. I was trying to trade her out before the round, but just couldn't get it done. So I'm hoping, I can play it, get another card in there and play it matchup to matchup basis.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I think she's still a solid huge on the weekend, just going absolutely massive. I'm sure we'll touch on her a little bit more when it comes to the St Kilda game. But across formats for me, I'll whip through these. So in the official, I scored 1391 with a overall rank now of 298. So that put me up 15 spots this week. So good to have another green arrow moving in the right direction. But I felt like I didn't miss too many big players. It was just probably the captain call of having Marinoff and Garner, which really it's nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, this was one of those weeks where both went sub 100. So yeah, and then a couple of other lower scores, which I'll also touch on there. In Game Day Squad, I had a total score of 1970, which put me at an overall rank of, I believe it was 18th for the season. So again, moving up slowly in the rankings, but still a little bit off that top 10 pace. And then, yeah, for the week, I think I finished 16th. So again, just frustrated, couldn't quite crack that top 10 mark to get that pack to open this week. So hopefully it's next week, but yeah, not quite coming this week. And then Mira's Magic for the week. I actually have to, apparently it's saying I need to log into my account. So let me just quickly do that, and hopefully that loads quickly, and then I'll be able to say that. But beautiful. It did log in quickly. So for Mira's Magic, I scored 1171, had me a round rank of 276, over a rank of 204. So I think I went down about, I think 3 spots, I think I did. So again, laid out of list. Well, out of list, I didn't actually really look at properly. A couple of low scores there. My bench actually went pretty well for a good cash gen, but not a huge score. Plus a -3s. Plus a -3. Oh, for official, I reckon I'm going to give it to. There's plenty of big performers here that I could give it to, like your Gardners and your Row Bombs. But I'm actually going to give it to Tanya Kennedy, who I brought in this week. A bit of a risky play. She's a bit cheaper.
Love
played midfield, scored 71. So not my highest score by any means in my team, and there are a lot of other huge scores there. But just the fact that she got a 71 with a 42-point first quarter, I really couldn't have asked for much more from her. -3 has to go to Aaron Phillips. Just no other way about it. 38 points. It's a bit of a rock and hard place having her in the team at the moment. She's too cheap. That's hard to get her up, but there's not too many forward options to actually go to. So I'm not too sure. GameDay Squad plus a -3. It's a bit hard to go past Hannah Priest, but you go to her with the 171 as a goal in my team. So I'm actually going to go for. I'm going to share again another bit of a pod. I'm going to do a bit of a pod thing with the +3s this week. Abby Dowrick for a 129 as a silver in my GameDay Squad. So I was very nice in the good matchup against West Coast. Again, there's some really good performers there. Bonnie Too Good, Laura Gardner, Ali Morfitt that have been mainstays in my team all season when they could have got it. But yeah, Abby Dowrick for me gets it with her very good game against West Coast. -3 has got to go to Daisy Darcy, only a 52 It was a bad match against the Crows, but I thought she might have gone okay. But yeah, 52 points of bronze isn't what I'm after. And then Mira's Magic plus a -3, +3 goes to Laura Gardner there with the 132, comfortably my highest scorer there. And -3 goes to, I'll go Malloy at this one with just the 51 points there. A bit of a low score for her there. So, but yeah, let's run through the games and how they all went. So Geelong and Melbourne was the very first game of the round, all the way back Thursday night. So it's actually good to have Thursday night footy. And it wouldn't be too opposed if they'd made that a more regular thing. But Geelong going down to Melbourne by 49 points. And Kate Hall, once again, top scoring 108. No surprises with how well she's going this season, being the captain. 4 goals, 20 touches. Not really much else has to be added with her. She's just a line-up lock across the format. You just need to put her in. Nina Morrison had another great game again after escaping suspension, which we thought last Sunday night she was going to be suspended for. So 101, 30 touches, kicked a goal as well. Very good goal as well. So again, just AFL, the official game, where she's a forward, she's a lock. And then the other format, she's probably a bit match-up dependent. She's been very, very good, but I don't know if you're looking at trading her in necessarily. A. McDonald scored a 90, so a solid game from her, 27 touches. A few people own her across those. But the first one I want to discuss with you is Paxi Paxman, 87 points, 2 goals, 20 touches. Just been really consistent last few weeks since coming back after missing round 2. Is she a target for you if you don't already have her in your forward lines?
100%. Yeah, has to be, mate, for sure. I love the comment. Like, she's been really consistent over the past couple of weeks, as you were just saying, and she keeps finding ways to, contribute, on the scoreboard as well, scoring goals. And, that's a massive buffer when you can have someone that's consistently doing that. And unfortunately, in GameDay Squad, she's listed as a midfielder, which we've touched on in prior weeks. So she isn't relevant in GameDay Squad. Maybe if you wanted to do a pod play, you could plug her in your midfield, but I'd probably, look elsewhere because there is just so much value in that midfield at the moment. But in your traditional formats, mate, but as a forward, 100%, you have to be considering someone like Paxman. And if you can find a way to squeeze her into your lineup, why not? I think you should be doing it. Of course, it's going to be a bit tough with the budget. You might have to sacrifice a little, but yeah, it could be a sacrifice worth taking. But yeah, I just loved her year. She's nearly up 20 disposals a game. 18.8, 8 of those being kicks, getting some midfield time as well, some clearances. Love what I've been seeing from Paxman this season. And definitely a player you want to put into
Yeah,
your lineups.
yeah, I agree. Moving to the next player here is Georgie Prasparkas. So 68 points. I'm just going to say this. Don't worry about it if you're an owner. I wouldn't be trading her out by any means. I'd almost be still saying it's actually still a good time to buy her. GameDay Squad could be a good chance to buy low. Maybe a few coaches are going, she had a bad game, trying to sell her a bit cheaper. She fell 119k in official, so I think she's still a good option. Essendon this week, a little bit. Essendon have been a bit difficult for players to score against, but going up against her sister in Maddie Prasparkas, it'll be a very good game, I think, for her on the weekend. I think she'll bounce back too with a better score there.
Yep.
Yeah, she just got unlucky. A lot of tackles that she tackled. The player got the ball out and handballed to a teammate, which doesn't count as a tackle. Like a few missed tackles, just a few times the ball bounced the wrong way. So another game that would have been over 100. So I'd be buying low if you can on her. Emerson, a little bit of a lower game for only the 60 points. Melbourne are a bit of a difficult matchup. So again, I wouldn't be too worried about that. 60 points well for a defender is also not too bad a score as well. So, and I believe that's about it. Erin Hall, only 34. So I think she's just a trade out to cash her in. Amy Mackin, 34 as well. She'll just keep making a bit of cash on the bench for us there as well. So, yeah, moving on to the next game, the Friday, first game of the Friday. I was going to say Friday night. There's plenty of games on Friday. So, Mon Conti, 121. Yep. Again, just showing that she can put up some good scores. That's the biggest score of the season to date, 121. Yeah, I think she's a decent option if you've got her, and probably one that is one of those probably fringe ones, especially in your game day squad, where probably if it's a bad matchup, you don't put her in. But if it's a good matchup, she's a good one to have there as your fourth or fifth midfielder, going along with like Marinoff, Garner, Prasparkas, those type of players, row bottom, putting in your midfield there. So Grace Egan backed up her 112 last week after a 97. Bit expensive now, thinking official probably to take that chance. But if you did jump on her last week, after that 112, you would have been rewarded very well with a big cash rise as well. On your tie, 84, being very solid in our forward lines there, especially GameDay Squad. I've plugged her in a few weeks. Didn't put her in this week, unfortunately, but another good game from her. Isla Sheeran, another good score, 76. I still think she's one of those top few defenders. I think you can still put her in and she'll score well week after week. Mim Strom, 73, solid from her. And San at 68 as well. Again, just being solid in defence, playing that more forward role that are getting up high up the ground there. Katie Brennan, a bit of a lower score, 53. I wouldn't be too worried about that. Freo, it was a bit of a different game. Had a quiet first half, but got going in that second half there. So I wouldn't be too worried about her. I don't think there's really anyone want to sort of touch on in depth. Sarah Hosking was injured on 47. Hamstring, so she may be out a week or two, but she'll be quite cheap across the formats at some point. So she could come into calculations, but we'll have to see anyway. Is there anyone you want to touch on quickly, Tom, there before we move to the next game?
Katie Brennan probably was a little bit disappointing. I'm not sure if you mentioned
Yes, I mentioned it quickly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just, in ripper form. Just didn't play, as probably as well as she wanted to this week. But I don't think it's any cause for concern. Brennan's still someone you want to be targeting in your lineup. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's still a good option to put in, in your forward line. I was going to say midfield then, in your forward line week to week. And probably one, again, based on matchup a little bit. But, it's still, I think, a good one to put in there. All right, moving on to the next game, Carlton and Sydney, with Carlton getting the job done by 5 points. I didn't actually say...
So close, man. So close, my Swannies, dude. Come on.
I didn't actually say the game before Freo won by 7 points. I normally say the margin that. But, Carlton getting the job done by 5 points here. No surprise, mate. Two Sydney girls are up the top pretty much every week. Laura Gardner, 132, 33 touches, 9 tackles and a goal. Ali Morfitt, 25 touches, 8 marks, 27 hitouts and 118 points. And it was good to see not as many of those frees against that we've been seeing in a couple of last few weeks. But, mate, just words on both those two.
Couldn't speak of two players more highly this season. They just have not disappointed yet. Even you mentioned the freeze against last week for Morfitt, she still finished the round as the number 1 ruck. So even when she's not playing great, she's still playing fantastic. And Gardner, I don't think she has any more she can do in the field, dude. feel like 30 disposals and a goal is just the norm. I'm just like expecting it now, but I'm just being so greedy because obviously I start it every week, but like it is just absurd the season she is having. She's a ball winner. She's going to continue to do that all the year for the Swans. And yeah, if you weren't lucky enough to hop on early with Morfitt and, Gardner now, it's probably a little bit too late to be looking at getting them in your team in traditional formats. But in Game Day Squad,
I was going to say, more for I reckon you can still bring in. So you got to pay up for them. I think you're going to need both at some point in the year, but it's a little bit. I think if you don't have Gardner at this point, I feel bad. You probably don't deserve to have her at this point because you should have already grabbed her because she's gone up 756K in official, 1.403 million, and she's only had the one score below 100, which was the 93 against West Coast when she got tagged, but. And then she's also had 2 scores over 130 in her first 5. So really, if you don't have her by this point, I feel bad. But you probably don't deserve. But Ali Morfitt is still what she priced. I'm just getting her price up. She's 1.135. So it's expensive. Still going to cost you about 400K to go up from, or nearly 400. No, sorry, over 300K to go up from Schultz to Morfitt. But you could still potentially do it if you've got that spare cash available. But I agree. Maybe if you can't afford them now, maybe try and if you've got other issues, maybe you got to try and fix those up.
That's the thing. I'm thinking it's more of a case of like you're going to have to sort out other positions in your team rather than going to the ruck because, I don't know if it's worth paying the 400K difference for Schultz. But as I was going to say before, in Game Day Squad, if you have signed up, I'd definitely be listing cards that are duplicates or one that you don't necessarily use for trade and trying to get either one of those 2 studs if you can because they are just eating every single week.
Yeah, and they're mainstays of my lineup, which is great. No, you've got the silver versions. I've got the bronze, which is disappointing. I wish I had the silvers, but hey, at least I've got one of them in my lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Bree Moody, 98, went very well again. Took 5 contested marks and looked really good. But I wouldn't be buying yet. I'd be holding off. Jess Good still taking the majority of the ruck. Bree Moody playing more forward. If anything did happen to Jess Good, then all of a sudden, go nuts, jump on Bree Moody because then she'll be great. But I still think that she'll be solid while still sharing. But that I'd want to be buying. If you're looking at a ruck, it's Ali Morfitt and Alice Edmonds for me are the 2 that you're looking to bring in. I think so, or even a Mimstrom as well. They're probably the 3 I'd be buying if you're looking at bringing in a ruck. Em Mackay has been very, very consistent this year. Another 96. So if you've got her at all, she's been very, very solid there. Ella Head's 88. Went very, very well. I don't think you can expect 88 ever. She took a lot of marks, 10 marks there. But I think she's still shown that she's been a very solid player for Sydney this year. I think she's only gone below. She hasn't gone below 50 all year, which a lot of those big defenders haven't really sort of gone that much higher than 60, 70 on a week, and she's gone 51, 69, 62, 51, 88. So a little bit lower, but just been a solid and serviceable sort of D3, 4, 5, and obviously this week put up a high score of the season. So she was very, very good there. Tanya Kenny, who I mentioned before, is my +3 in official, 71. I was very, very happy with that, playing pretty much majority midfield there. Gave away 3 free kicks, so if it wasn't for those, I think she would have scored over 80. Very, very happy with that and getting that big cash rise from her. I wouldn't be bringing her in official now. She's over 720K. I think the boat has sailed because she's probably just one that I'll ride for a couple of weeks. Then I'll look to move her to another defender there. But maybe Game Day Squad could plug her in for a week. Maybe this week against Port Adelaide could be something that you might look at. But
yeah, I was just going to mention that matchup's tasty this week, not only for the defenders but also for the midfielders as well. So someone like Malloy, maybe she hasn't been in the best form this year. So
yeah, she was going to be one of the ones I was going to say 51, bit of a lower score. But again, I'm not. People are probably panicking with 835 and trading her out. I'm not. I know she's had 2 of the last 3 been under 60, but Brisbane, she got the tag there, and this week, I think on the weekend was her first real poor game where she didn't really get involved. So I don't think I'd be trading out unless you've got no issues at all and you can get yourself a Kate Hall, Bonnie Too Good, Nina Morrison, someone like that is what I'd be doing. But Port Adelaide, good matchup. I'd be holding. Would you agree?
Tasty matchup. Oh yes, 100%, mate. I think if you look like for the first 5 rounds of the season so far, they're top 4 in points against for defenders, and I think they're what's this the worst points against for midfielders, which means it's a really, really good matchup this week. So if you are, hanging on right now and you're living on the edge with these sort of players that we just spoke about, leave it another week. Hopefully we get the result. And then, if you want to look at trading out, then I would suggest doing it.
Yeah, I'd agree. Keely Shearer, 68. So Maria's Magic, sort of popular player there. A lower score there, but I'm not too worried. 68 is those forwards the top ones are scoring pretty much 90 plus, but Maria's Magic there's not as many forward options as a lot of those players that don't have forward status there. So I wouldn't be worried too much. I'd still be keeping her and not trading her. She's still very good there. Karen Peterson, 67, Gab Pound, 64, and then even a coordinate 49, just sort of doing okay, sort of just ticking over the score there. I think I'd still be trading coordinate if you can get her up. I don't think she's a priority trader. I think she's just going to get anywhere from 50 to 70 most weeks. But yeah, you could look at still going her up to another option. And then Gab Pound, 64, you probably hold. She had that one bad game against Richmond, but I think you probably just hold her if you've got other issues. And then, if you did have a Karen Peterson, I'd probably hold her. It says listed her as out. I know she struggled a bit at the end with, I think she got the knock or something. But if she's out, then obviously it's a trade. But if not, if you've still got her, maybe you look at holding potentially there. Scrolling down the list a bit more, I think we've pretty much covered everyone from the game. Montana only to 25. She's going to be cheap next year, that's for sure. So one to watch. Again, a good one in GameDay Squad as well to buy low on, with people probably selling her, maybe not knowing too much about her, but very high draft pick one for Sydney last year. And she looked great. And this year just struggled with injury. If she can get a bit of form towards the back half of the year, then great. But if not, you'll have a Montana Ham hopefully in your game day squad, or we'll have a cheap Montana Ham across the formats next year. Moving on to Bulldogs and St Kilda, with St Kilda winning by 18 points there. Hannah Priest, wow, 120 points, 28 touches and 10 tackles. Oh, yeah. Good.
Mate, I just unreal. I know earlier in the year we spoke about the CBAs, the opportunity the priests were getting each week. Being in a really fruitful role. Some weeks she's listed as like a tagger as well. She'll go to the opponent's best player, but when she's playing like this, mate, like she really, I don't think she's had a game where she's really disappointed me this year, like at all. She's safe as houses at the moment. If you have someone like Hannah Priest, you're just loving watching what she does every single week. And she seems to be getting better and better as the games go on as well. So, yeah, I wonder if there's even another level that she can get to. And I know I'm saying this after a biggest score of the year so far. But, yeah, I honestly think that maybe not these type of performances, but we're gonna expect Priest to be cemented as a top three defender for this entire season. I think she's
probably cemented herself now as the number one defender playing in that midfield. She's the sort of the main one playing in the midfield in those defenders. And we always say if you can get a forward and defenders playing midfield, that's an added bonus, and they're going to be at the top of their line. Look at Laura Gardner, Nina Morrison, like those players, and then even a Hannah Priest. Yeah, as I said, Hannah Priest in defence. So yeah, I think lock and load her. She's expensive and official now, over 900K. Oh, no, sorry, nearly million. She's 992 odds. I think if you can get up to her, I think it's still a very fruitful acquisition, because she's not going to get much. She's not going to get any cheaper, really, I don't think. I think she's going to keep going up and up, because she's just, going very, very well at the moment. Ellie Blackburn had one of her best game for the season with a 117 there, 31 touches. Looked like she was... sort of one of the Saints players trying to go with her throughout the game, but sort of just running him ragged. So it went very well. Don't think I'll be buying her in official or Maria's Magic. I think it's still probably she's just a little bit off those top mids. But in Game Day Squad, again, I don't mind plugging her in for good matchups. She's shown that she can score very well. So, I don't mind that there. Isabel Pritchard had a very good game, 112. So I'm just trying to get her price up in official. So she's priced at 912K. She'll have a lower break even this week. Got Carlton. If you want to go unique play to maybe get a little bit of cash, if you're maybe struggling, if you've got a Bree Davey and you probably need a bit of cash to maybe go Phillips out, I've half looked at an Izzy Pritchard this week playing midfield for the Dogs. So just someone to keep an eye on as a potential option there. Alice Edmonds, 109. So her first ton since round one. I think she looked really, really good on the weekend, played 100% game time, one that I'd be trying to get into your lineups across the formats if you didn't have a morph and you couldn't get up to her, because Edmonds 971K only going to cost you 165K to get from Schultz up to Alice Edmonds. I think that could be a play that coaches could consider there as well. Jesse Wardlaw. So, again, shout out to our mate Jaden, who, with his pop-out picks, he keeps popping him out each week and getting him right. And Jesse Wardlaw was his pick last week. And, again, she did the job, then did very, very well. Scored a 90 on the dot, 3 goals, 6 marks, 5 tackles, 10 hitouts as well. In official, and I think I think forward lining and plug her in. I think she's going really well at the moment, playing that sort of that second ruck role and getting up the ground, getting involved. But I think she's also an option across the other formats as well. Priced at 776 in official, went up 131K this week. What are your thoughts about bringing her in the salary cap formats? She's gone 70, 61, and 90 in her last 3 games. And as I said, double-digit hitouts in the last 3 games have resulted in 3 scores over 60.
Yeah, well, increased CBA attendances by 30% throughout that period as well.
And I think it's going to
there.
continue. She's looked really, really good, and St Kilda have looked really good while doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's one of these situations. We talk about players, playing the forward defenders who are getting this midfield time, getting an increased role. Yeah, Jaden has honestly nailed it on the head. And I've just looked at GameDay Squad right now. You can pick up a gold Wardlaw for 90 cents.
Yeah, wow.
So if you're just getting started, not that that's any financial advice, of course, you do what you want to do. But yeah, like that's pretty tasty with the form she's in. As you mentioned, mate, she looks awesome. 3 goals as well. Like, yeah, if she's getting more midfield time, I'm all in. I'm looking for like that one, my F6 at the moment. I feel like my top 5 are nearly like cemented, and I know who I want to rock with every week. But she's creeping into that conversation with me. I might need to acquire one of her cards.
Yeah, no, it could be a very good acquisition there as well. Georgia Patricios, just someone to keep on your little black book, your watch list. Price at 796K in official, scored an 83 on the weekend, looked really good as well. Didn't quite get those marks to boost that score up into the 90s, but looked very good. Very cheap. Gone down nearly over 150K in official. Went up 93K this week, though, so she was actually cheaper than what she was. So just someone that I've got a Bree Davey, I've got a Ty Smith there, just someone I've considered potentially getting because there's not really much cash going on my making on my bench. So I've got to try and find ways to make a bit of cash, and that could be something. So just I'm not saying bring her in, but just someone to keep an eye on. Katie, I don't know if you've got have you got a CBA numbers there at all, or like percentage wise?
Sorry,
for Georgia Patricios.
Georgia Patricios, she last 3, 15%, average 9%. Increase of, she's increasing though from her last round to her average by 18%. So looking like she's trending like.
Yeah, so what was her percentage of CBA's last in this game here, just gone? Against the
last
Dogs.
Round 27.8.
Yeah, so still not quite what you'd want probably to look at really bringing her in, but yeah, just something to monitor. If that keeps increasing, she played really well on the weekend. I wouldn't be shocked if they try and get her in there more. So, Katie Lynch 82 as well, a solid score from her. I think, especially when Dogs get some of their defenders back into lineup, she could be a good option. Up to she's 733K now in official, so gone up a little bit. That was a high score of the year. She's been a bit up and down her last 4 weeks. She's went 50, 75, 40, 82. So I wouldn't be bringing her in just yet. But especially if we get news that maybe like I think is it Millie? I think it's Millie Brown is one of their key defenders back there, not currently playing at the moment. If she gets Eleanor Brown, my bad, Eleanor Brown, she gets named in the side. She hasn't played yet this year. Then that would be where I would potentially look at getting Katie Lynch into your form lineups across the formats. Roar Smith been very, very good cash cow after. I know when me and Liam discussed her when she first got named, she only got a couple of 30s in the VFLW, and we thought, well, probably not quite, doesn't look like the option, but she's been very, very good. Another 76 again. She's gone up a bunch in cash, so if you did jump on, you'd be very, very happy. She's gone up to 601k, made 301k so far. I jumped on Caitlin Pope over her, which now I'm regretting because that money would have come in handy this week for upgrades. So it just shows that in official, you get the wrong rookie, it can really cost you with that cash gen. So been very, very good. Dee Berry, another 70 points for her playing in the midfield again. I don't know if you've got her CBA numbers there, Tom. Dee Berry for the Bulldogs, but solid once again, 14 touches, a goal, 7 tackles.
Yeah, last round, 66%, average for the season, 48%.
Yeah, been her last
18% increase.
But her last 2 games have been where it's been sort of really impactful in the midfield. What have been her last 2 CBA numbers for the last 2 weeks?
Last 3, 64% CBA attendances. So, yeah, she's trending really
so
well.
I think she's still an option to look at bringing in. She's still under 800k, could make a little bit of cash as well. I'm just looking on GameDay Squad to see if she is, in fact, a forward or if she's a midfielder. So she's a midfielder in GameDay Squad. So not relevant in GameDay Squad, but in official, she's listed as a forward. So I still think she could be an option there. Ty Smith still continues to make a bit of cash. 64 was her lowest score since week 1. Got the Hawks this week, so I think I'll be holding for one more week if you've got it on field. If you've got it on your bench, I don't think it matters too much. You can cash her in and get that 550k for her and look at upgrading. But Hawks this week, if she's on your field and you've got other issues like a Phillips, Bree Davey, someone in defence, someone like that, I'd be keeping her for one more week. I think she can put up a solid score and make a little bit more cash for you. And I know Liam says this as well. Every time I see Nikki Zenos in the midfield, she just looks very, very good. I don't know why she doesn't get more time in the midfield there. She gets a few CBAs here and there, but I think she should be one of the main ones in there because she has got that sort of that speed and sort of elusiveness that would be very good for Saints midfield, but who knows? And I believe that and Matty Gorham now only 25 as a rookie, not quite the score we were hoping for. Moving on to the last game on the Saturday, plenty of games here. We'll rush through a couple of these games here. So Abby Garrick with a 100 there. Very, very good score for her and rewarded those coaches that jumped on her with that good matchup. Went up 92k in official, over $1 million now. So probably a bit hard to buy her now considering that that's her first score over 90 this year. She's got, second score over 90 this year, my bad. She's got a couple of 80s in there as well. And then the 50 against Brisbane, mind you, so that's obviously a tough matchup there. You could jump on it to get a bit more cash, but over $1 million, you can probably almost get yourself even a Georgie Prasparkas, who's just over 1.1, even a Elise Parker, who we're going to talk about soon, who killed her, and she's just over 1.2, so could be the option there. Emma Swanson, 92, just consistent, getting her 90s at the moment, so probably not one I'd target bringing in, but if you've got her, you're probably not looking to trade her out at this point. Charlotte Thomas, 83, her highest score of the season, and just improving week after week. She's gone and increased her score each week, 36, 58, 68, 77, 83, and looking very, very good, playing high time on ground, and she's just, again, if you don't have her, she's a great target across every single format there. Gemma Houghton just continues to get it done with 81 points. Again, if you jumped on her in the salary format, so you'd be very happy if you plugged her into your game day squad. Again, just putting up solid scores. And, again, Sydney on again this week. I'd be keeping her in your lineups this week with another good matchup there. Lauren Wackford, if you jumped on her as a cheaper rookie there, scored an 80 and would have got up a fair amount of cash. So I'm just looking at official. So she went up 157k there. So would have been very, very handy if you jumped on her last week with that big cash rise. So I don't think I'll be jumping on her now, 590k, unless you were looking at maybe going Schultz down if you are desperate for cash just to try and get another player. But it was a good matchup for her. So I'm not, and got Giants this week, so it could be another solid matchup. But I'm not sure. I'd be keen to see if what the free kick guys say if they would be targeting her, but I'm not sure if I'd be looking at it now. Matilda Schultz, 65, so solid from her. Gave away a fair few free kicks, actually. So she gave away, against West Coast, she gave away 5 free kicks, was clearly the most of the season. So that could have been well over an 80-point game and a good score for her. So I'm not too worried about her. I don't think she's a priority trade out by any means. It's just if you've got a good team and you can move her on, you could do that. Ella Roberts, only 63, but I'm not too worried about her. Still keeps getting the solid scores there. She hasn't gone below 60 all year, and a bit of a lower game time on the weekend. Only the 74% first time, under 80% this season. I'm not worried too much about her. I wouldn't be trading her out unless, again, you haven't got any other burning issues in your side. Erin Phillips, 38. This is the one we'll discuss about. What are your thoughts, Tom? 38 points. That's now 2 scores. Well, 3 of her last 4 scores have been below 60. Got tagged on the weekend. Did play 100% game time, which was, I guess, a positive. Only the 10 disposals. Got going in the second half, but Sydney this week, she dropped 109k. It's sort of inofficial. What do you do? Like, I think if you've got her in GameDay Squad, she's just out of your side if you had her. But do you trade out? Do you hold and just sort of hope that she gets back on track just because she's so cheap? What do you do?
Yeah, this is a good one, man. This is really tough, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be in this situation because we've been hanging on to this like belief and this thought that the get right game is coming. It's coming. She's going to finally turn up. Erin Phillips is going to work it out. As you mentioned, she did caught the tag on the weekend, and she said she sort of got it going, but 10 disposals. I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I
If you look at years prior,
sort of got it going, but still not really going.
yeah, I know what you're saying, though, but it's for me personally, mate. I'm panicking. I currently have Phillips. This is the one thing I need to work out this week. And I personally, for me, I think it's just time to cut losses.
Yeah.
I just can't continue to keep warranting playing Phillips, at least in my team. I think I need to move on. I brought Goldsworthy in last week, but yeah, I'm going to have to do another trade for a forward because I need to find some value somewhere, maybe generate some cash. But Phillips isn't doing it for me. I haven't liked her season so far. And I don't think it's getting better anytime soon. So for me, mate, it's time to.
I think it is definitely time to go. I'm probably just raising that point because, for example, my team, I know a lot of people in this boat that cash gen it's slowed right down, obviously, after the first few weeks. And if you didn't get on like an Aurora Smith or a Lauren Wackfer or someone that's gone up a fair bit in the last couple of weeks, and you got a Caitlin Pope or Mia Bush has been slowly going up in price, but Izzy Huntington, rookies like that haven't gone up much. It's sort of, if we want to try and get Bree Davey up to an Elise Parker or something like that, if you've got Ty Smith on field, if you've got, if you want to get rid of Malloy, which I wouldn't be, but if you did, trying to get her up to a Bonnie Toogood or Kate Hoare, it's like, how are you going to get Erin Phillips up to a player like, we're just even looking at the top sort of couple, like Laura Gardner, if you didn't have her 1.4 million, there's no way you're paying 800k to go Phillips to Gardner. Toogood 1.28. You're paying yourself 600k to get to Toogood. I don't think coach will be able to do that. Nina Morrison is about 530k up from Phillips. Hoare is about 500k up from Phillips, and then even a Paxi is nearly 300k up. So you're probably looking at a few of those options we talked about in the 800k range. Like you maybe looking, if you didn't have Malloy, I'd still rather go Phillips to Malloy. I think Malloy will have a get right game. It could be this week. You've got Sophie Conway there. You've got Neve Kelly. You've got Dee Berry, Jessie Wardlaw. A few of these options there in the 800 to 750k range. Or if you want to take a chance on even a Chelsea Randall who didn't put up a good score, so probably wouldn't actually do that, to be fair. I'd wait on Chelsea Randall a bit, but maybe if Harris gets named this week, could you go there? I don't know. It's a very hard spot to be in as an Erin Phillips owner, but yeah, it's going to be one that I'm sure will be discussed throughout the week. So at this stage, I've half considered holding just with the Sydney matchup, but if you can get rid of Phillips, I'd be doing it if you could do it.
Well, I can imagine we'll be talking about this a lot more on our show, which will go out on Wednesday. So make sure you sub to GameDay Squad on YouTube. And you tune in to see what we think about that. But I totally agree, mate. I think it's a great point to bring up. But yeah, panic time, mate. I'm panicking.
yeah. It's that. Hang on, I'll actually do this now. I haven't actually done it for a while, but it's that time. That's the time. We're bloody panicking. So yeah, I do like the sound bars actually on Twitter. I've definitely been incorporating it more for the AFL Fantasy podcast with Tim that we do throughout the year. So looking forward to using the soundboard a bit more. But anyway, moving swiftly on to the only game on the Saturday before the men's grand final was Collingwood and Essendon, with Collingwood winning by 20 points. Matty Prasparkas, who you've been saying has gone under the radar and went bang on the weekend with 119 points. If you jumped on, which half said that you could do that last week after a couple of lower scores. I thought it was almost about time that Maddie was going to go bang, and she did. With clearly a high score of the season, her second score over 100. So I think she is a good pod that you could look at potentially targeting there. Bonnie Too Good, not really much else to add with her. Yep. She is just too good. 105 with 3 goals. Yeah, she's just fantastic. She's just amazing to watch. Sarah Rose, 77. Again, very. If you jumped on her across the format, she's been very good. She went down a little bit in official this week, but she's gone up 333k for the season. Hasn't scored below 68 or 67, all year, and that was against Melbourne in round 1. So it just shows how consistent she's been. And yeah, GameDay Squad, she's been a mainstay of my forward line. So very, very happy with her there.
Yes.
Sabrina Frederick as well, been another one that's just got it done throughout the season. So had a quiet round 1 with only the 45, but followed up with 71, 63, 105, and 77. So if you jumped on her, you would have made a lot of cash. 273k she's gone up on the season, went up another 72k on the weekend. So been very, very good. So if you made that move, kudos to you. Britt Benici.
And the hitouts as well,
yeah,
mate. She's
31 hitouts. She's clearly the number 1 ruck there, and we'll talk about actually her teammate in a second as well. A bit of a cheaper option we could consider. But Britt Benici, 69, and Bree Davies, 69 as well. So both scoring the same. Britt Benici a bit disappointing as well. The fact she was on 50 points at half time and just a 19 points the second half. And Bree Davies was just sort of consistent throughout the game, anywhere between 10 and 20 points, but really not setting the world on fire. They got Brisbane this week. It's a difficult matchup coming up. Kathy Svark's probably going to go to Bree Davies this week. If you can, are you trading out? Are you trading out both, or is Bree Davies a trade out? Made Benici a hold just with the one poor game that she's had?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. Benici's a hold. I think Davies a trade out right now for sure. Very tough matchup against the Lions, as you mentioned. It's just get on top of it early. I think Lions give up the least amount of points to midfielders this season so far. So even Benici might struggle a little bit, but if I agree that Davey will struggle more, probably going to get the attention.
Yeah, and that was Benici's first score below 88 this season. So I'm not too worried about her.
She's been uber consistent. Exactly. You got to let her.
Whereas Bree Davies, take away that 131 that she got round 1, she's got progressively worse. 98, 88, 77, which again that was she went off a little bit injured there, and then 69. But we do know she's carrying a bit of an ankle niggle, so that is something sort of to watch out for. So again, if you look at Bree Davies' numbers, she did give away 3 free kicks when she got the 77, gave away 3 when she got 98. So if she's not giving away those free kicks, she's got 100 in round 2, got a 90 odd in round 4. So this is technically her first sort of real poor game. But yeah, I think Brisbane this week could get a tag. It could be a good move to be trading out, but I don't think it's. I still think Phillips is more of a priority if you've got a choice between the two. But moving on to the other players in this game here, Jean Anscorn only the 64, still gone up a ton of cash. So it's sort of one of those ones, shake the hand and I think trade her out and get that cash from her because she's up to 730k. And if you go her down, she's on your bench. You can make maybe a couple of moves on the other end. So I'd be moving her on. Alana Porter could be a rookie you look at bringing in with a 63. That was clearly her best score. I don't think she's going to put up a consistent 60s, but she did put up a good score, which will be good for a cash gen moving forward. That was her first score over 30 all year. So just showing that it was just a very good game from her. I don't know if I'll be targeting her. I think I'd be looking at a couple of other options there. Erica Fowler's one that you could look at, playing that backup ruck role too. Sabrina Frederick scored 52 points. Just sort of filled up the stat lines just pretty well. 9 touches, 2 marks, 3 tackles, 7 hits and a goal. Just consistent. And for a rookie, 52 points. She can get 45, 50 for the next few weeks. She'll be able to make a bit of cash and be a good one to trade out in a couple of weeks. So is probably one as a defender and official and a ruck in Maria's Magic could be one that you look at targeting. Mia Bush, you could cash in 46 on the weekend. So back-to-back solid, 3 weeks in a row, over 40, which is pretty good. That's helped her cash gen. I don't think if you get rid of her, she's just going to go and drop a 70 or an 80, but she's been solid the last few weeks. So I think you can cash her in. And then also just, I didn't realise this, but Geordie Allen, 26 points, Lauren Butler, 22 points. 2 of the sort of been up there in the top sort of 5 to 10 defenders last year and in previous years, and both putting up sub 30 scores. So they're probably two just to watch out for in terms of what their price will be in a few weeks' time. They'll be very, very cheap. So moving to North Melbourne and GWS, with North getting job done by 30 points. A pretty windy game here. Elise Parker, 139 points. I think she's a pretty good target. Would you agree?
Mate, we spoke about the other week with Liam coming on to the to this breakdown, and we spoke about the way that the Giants play. It's not very fantasy friendly for anyone, but it is fantasy friendly for very few people. One of those being Parker. They depend on Parker to get the ball in her hands, to make a bulk amount of tackles every single game. 30 disposals and double-digit tackles seems like the normal now for Parker coming into each game. Like, she is on fire as of recent.
Yep.
She's definitely a player,
week.
especially in GameDay Squad. You have to be considering getting Parker into your best six in the midfield. We spoke about our Bowers replacements last week. Who you're looking for, who you're going to sub in. Mate, Parker's a perfect candidate. She's going to get the ball in her hands. She's going to be the star player for the Giants. So, yeah, I love it. In traditional formats, if you can find a trade in, it could be worth it. You mentioned the matchup next week.
They've got a very good run.
It's looking
tasty. They've got a very good run on the way home as well.
Tasty.
We know Fat Elise Parker fills the stat line, 34 touches, 5 marks, 10 tackles. Just did it all. And, one that I would be strongly considering trying to get in GameDay Squad and trying to trade in official, because she is, and even Rose Magic, she's 1.233, went up 119k on the weekend, and her price is just going to continually increase. Could cop a tag this week against West Coast. I don't think it's going to slow her down a great deal, that I wouldn't be bringing her in just because of that. But also the fact that she's one of the premium mids of the competition. This is her time on ground in each game this season. 93, 100, 93, 100, 100. I think she's come off twice in 5 weeks, which is ridiculous for a premium midfielder. Like, I know some
one of them was an injury from memory, so she was like almost forced to come off.
That was against Richmond, and that was one against 93. The other one in Sydney, round 1, she would have come off once, which is absolutely ridiculous as a premium midfielder. It doesn't come off, and I know Goldsworthy's very similar as well. But when you look at some of the other ones, like your Garners and stuff, do play high 80s, low 90s. Ebony Marinoff a bit the same, and Hatchard, Rowbottom. A few of these players do play high, but they don't go 100% pretty much every week. So it's just ridiculous. Ash Riddell, one of the great starting pick for me. Very happy with her, but I did trade her after that 70. I went her out over Brie Davey, which I'm going to rue that decision. Should have kept Riddell. She's been fantastic. Has only gone below 100 in one game, and that was that game after I traded her out, thinking Bruton back, Brisbane coming up. I thought I'd jump off and try and sort of make a few changes. I did get Charlie Rowbottom, so I've still gained points, but not many. And I could have Rowbottom with Riddell, but unfortunately I moved off. But Riddell's been fantastic. If you've got her, I would be definitely holding. If you haven't got her, she's still a good option to be bringing in, because she's just very, very consistent. And Freo this week, great matchup, could put up a huge score. Jenna Britton, 110 as well, was solid. Same with Mia King, 96. And Jazz Garner, 92, was okay. A bit unders from what everyone paid. She did actually drop 138k this week, which was disappointing. Her first score below 120 for the season. Freo this week, though, I dare say she's going to go back to that sort of big scoring ways there. Hayley Miller could go to her, but I wouldn't be too worried. I think Jazz Garner will put up a good score there. So I still... And again, you could bring her in this week. She's going down a little bit in cash. You're going to get 138k cheaper than what everyone else that paid for her last week. So still an okay still a very good target for those that don't have her. Emma Carney got an 80 as well, considering it didn't go much in the Giants forward line. That was a solid score from her. No Nicole Bresnahan for probably most of the regular season. So Emma Carney, great option if you're looking for a defender. I think she's going to do better than what she did in the first few weeks when Bresnahan was there. You'll see that points increase. Zali Goldsworthy, solid again with 76. Just continues to get it done week after week, getting 100% time on ground. So that's great when you don't have to worry about your player coming off, and you can just focus on getting points throughout the game. So
another pop out.
Yeah,
pick,
and
mate.
I still think you can bring her in. I still think she's still at a price at 928k, where she's expensive, but I think you know what you're getting from her now. She's playing high time on ground. She hasn't gone below 70 in her last 4 weeks. and obviously the first week she went that horrid 26, but since then she's been very good. So I think she's still an option you could bring in, especially if you can go Phillips to Goldsworthy. That could be a good move. And Goldsworthy, she's in your GameDay Squad forward line. You just leave her there and you sort of leave her there for the whole season. Tony Evans, 58. I wouldn't be too worried about that. A little bit of a lower score, but we know defenders, they can put up 50s and stuff, which isn't actually that much for a terrible score for a defender.
She's taking kick-ins as well, so there's going to be a certain flaw there. I'm not worried either. Yeah, totally agree.
I'd be definitely holding. She's still, for me, probably the number 2 defender if I was doing a best sort of 5 or 6. And I believe that's it. A lot of the Giants rookies didn't do particularly well, but I know that Garnett's not a rookie, but only 32. We know she's been scoring low this season. Fleur Davies, 29. Izzy Huntington, 27. So, yeah, I think I wouldn't be...
Yeah, Garnett and Kearney were going head-to-head on the weekend. It was actually a good watch.
Yeah, it's a good watch. I wouldn't be turning Garnett, obviously, with the role. And the Giants rookies, I'd be jumping off just because they aren't scoring very well. I know Huntington, you're not going to really be able to jump off because she's still pretty much basement, but yeah, not too good there, unfortunately. Moving to Hawthorn and Brisbane, so we've got a couple of games, 2 games left here as well, with Hawthorn going down to the Lions by 27 points. Ali Anderson, very, very under. Like, it's hard. It's weird that she's so underrated for a player that won the AFLW award last year, but she is only owned by 9.79% in official, and she's gone 117, 101, 102, 119 in her last 4 games. And in round 1, she got a 90. So she's been very, very good and consistent this season. 30 touches on the weekend, 3 behind. So she could have really gone like huge on the weekend. So a great target. And there's a good differential as well. I think she's a great option to be looking at there. Isabel Dawes got a 115 as well, so she looked good as well. I'm just getting up her price, 976k. Her last couple of she got 56 week before, so that was her first really good score of the weekend. If you think that it might be an uptick in better scores, potentially you could look at a bit of a pod, but I think you probably want to see a little bit more. But it's hard and official that you can't really do that, because if you wait another week, she'll probably go up another 150k and you probably missed out. So if you're keen, you could potentially jump on. Emily Bates, 98 with 14 tackles. She's just tackling her way to solid scores every week. I wouldn't be targeting her, but I think if you've got her, I think just hold her for the time being. Maybe coming up against St Kilda this week, maybe Priest goes head-to-head with her. I don't think it'll affect sort of Emily Bates too much, but you could look at still holding her. Sophie Conway, 63, just been consistent, not putting up too many huge scores, but 821k in official, not a terrible option, going over 60 in every game. And GameDay Squad, she's still a very good option to put in the forward line with the lack of options there as well. T. Lucas Rod, her 53, that was obviously her worst score for the season by a long way, and she's dropped a heap in price. If you did own her, I'd be aborting if you haven't already. Bree Kona, 47, and even that Grider, 33. Very low gains from them. What were your thoughts with these two? So Grider and Kona to a lesser extent, but Grider especially were options for people to bring in. What were your thoughts on the two Brisbane defenders? Because they didn't put up the score that owners would have hoped for.
I just think it was a matter of how the game was played. I don't think it's anything too far to concern. Like, Hawthorn played really, really good. I know they ended up losing, and they ended up losing by a little bit. But if you watch the first 3 quarters, you probably thought it was going to go Hawthorn's way. And it was just this system they were putting in place. They were really trying to lock it into their forward line. They were trying to slow the game down, just go stoppage to stoppage to stoppage. You can see some of the tackle counts on the teams for, like, Bates, 14 tackles, Stratton, 12 tackles. Like, you could tell there was a certain method that they were trying to play. And unfortunately, that just didn't play into the favor for the Brisbane defenders because it's a slow game. It's not coming in. They're not being able to rebound as they normally do. So I think it was just a game plan type of scenario. There was obviously a lot of wind. I'm not sure if you watched the game, Bales, but it was blowing a gale out there, mate. So I just think the conditions weren't very favorable. But I'm not too concerned. Like, moving forward, people have traded them in. I don't think it's time to panic, though. I think, if they're in your team, you're not going to trade out straight away. Sit tight. I think the next week will be a much better matchup, and that'll be against the Pies, as we mentioned before.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, there's plenty of tackles in this game. Bates 14, Stratton 12, Dawes 11, Anderson 8, Spark 7. So plenty of tackles to go around. And again, that could be a good thing for those Saints players. So Ty Smith and Patrikios, who I did quietly mention before as well. So it could potentially be another good game for those players. And even, obviously, the main one is that I didn't say, probably should have said it first, but Hannah Priest obviously could have another huge game against Hawthorn if we see another one of those contested games. The only last one I want to just touch on, Lily Postlethwaite, been very consistent, 45. I think it is probably time to, if she's on your field, if you can get her up, I think that is a good option. If she's on your bench, I think that, cashing her in, you get yourself 300k or around that mark and use that cash to upgrade. I think that is a good move. She only went up to 16k this week. So just showing her cash gen has started to slow a little bit after going up a lot this season. And I believe that is it from this game. So we'll go to the final game, which I was able to be in attendance for, which was Adelaide defeating Gold Coast by 32 points. And I don't know if you guys saw across my socials, but I finally got that photo with Ebony Maridoff, which was very, very good. She was very, very nice about it as well. I think she was about to head over, and I said, "I think I'll get a quick photo." And she came and responded, "Yeah, of course." And yeah, very good moment. So thanks, Noffy, for the photo there. Charlie Rowbottom, though, was the top scorer for this game for the Gold Coast. A lot of tackles in this game. Again, we sort of said that last game, but this game there was 6 players over 10 tackles, with Charlton getting the most at 14. So plenty of tackles. But Rowbottom, again, not too much to add. She's just an absolute machine. 126, 28 touches, 13 tackles. Just if you've looking for a midfielder, she's one of the best options you can get. She's cheaper than your Marinoffs and your Garners. Although more expensive options, she's a little bit cheaper. So I think she's a great option to look at if you didn't have her. Anne Hatchard, 119, again, just consistent, gets it done week after week. Her only scores under 100 this year are both 97. So essentially, you essentially call them 100 really anyway. She's just been very good. Playing a high time on ground as she always does. Again, I like her as a bit of a... she's owned by nearly 27%, but I still do think she's a bit of a pod. I think a lot of those teams were probably selected and either haven't touched it much or are probably, I don't know, might be a bit down in the ranks, because I think a lot of people got Garner, Marinoff, Rowbottom, Bree Davey, Georgie Prasparkas, those players. I don't think a lot of people got Hatchard, so it could be good pod, even though the ownership's just otherwise. Ebony Marinoff, 91. So she got her 13 tackles to get there. She gave away 4 free kicks, which was the only frustrating little thing there. A couple of those were very dubious as well. I think they weren't quite free kicks, but on another day, doesn't give those frees away, and that's over 100. Again, I'm not concerned at all. I would not be trading her out by any means at all. And I think she'll respond this week. Melbourne, tougher matchup. I think she struggled a bit against them in the final last year, but the year before, I think she went massive against them. So I think she could have a big game in the top of the table clash this week. So moving down a bit here as well. Lucy Single, 65. I don't think I'll be trading. I still wouldn't be trading her out, I don't think, unless, again, you got nothing to do and you didn't have a Kate Horraboni too good or Nina Morrison. You can make that move. But she's just been very solid and just gets it done week after week. So I'd be holding her. Brandon Catasano was good. Made a little bit more cash there with 60 points and sort of just good for that cash gen there, and I'd be holding her for another week or two. Neve Kelly, 58. What are your thoughts with her now? Tom, that was her worst score for the season. I think was that her first score below 70, if I'm not mistaken. No, so she got a 61 in round 3, but that was her first score below 60. Slowed down a little bit since that round 1 score of 95. She's just been really consistent from essentially 58 to 75. Is it one where 801k, you're looking to go her up now, or are you still just probably holding her for the time being?
I think I'm like a bit emotionally invested into this because I know after the first round, I was like full steam ahead. Nee Kelly killing it, did the disposals. She was around up nearly like 18 a game, nearly 20 a game. She's still averaging 18.4 for the season, 13.8 kicks. Yeah, it definitely was her worst performance of the year, but the Suns are really good at not giving away fantasy points to other teams, or at least they restrict them. So I'm hoping it's a little bit of just, bit of that rather than it actually being a cause for concern. But I'm not too concerned. Like, she's not scoring because, she's kicking like 2 goals a game and only getting, 5 disposals and whatnot. Like, she's getting lots of opportunities every single week to go out there, score, kick the footy, contribute. And, when she can eventually score some goals in a game, which, she sprinkled in, I think, this year. But if she can be a little bit more consistent in that front, like, I think her upside's really, really good. And I don't think it's time to panic. If I see a forward with 18 disposals a game, I'm like invested rather than panicking.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'll probably be holding. Like, in official, if you've got no other issues, if you don't have Phillips, you don't have Courtney, you don't have Davey, you don't have any of these other options, then maybe you can go her up if you've got the cash. But I don't think it's a necessity to try to. Melbourne this week will be a bit of a tougher matchup, but yeah, I would still potentially look at holding there. Kiara Mueller there, 53, a solid score from her there. I know I've got her in Maria's Magic, so sort of just being solid with those 40s and 50s most weeks. Got a few 30s in there as well, but sort of just getting the job done. Jess Allen, another 50 again. She's probably the one that in the rucks that we should have gone this year. I'm just getting her how much she's gone up for the year. I don't know why she's not popping up. Did I put the? Don't think I put the name wrong. Did I? Okay, yes, did I put an E instead of a no? Of course, that's the case. But yeah, she's up to 640k. Just been very, very solid. So if you were lucky enough to have her as a bit of a pod, cashing her in now is probably a good bet. She went down for the first time, I think, this season, down 13k. But yeah, so been very solid this year. Chelsea Randall, just again, keep watching. There's going to be a time where she's going to become relevant, especially when Najwa Allen and Sarah Allen come back into the side. I think that's when she'll go more into the midfield, especially when getting to the business end of the scene. So that's another reason why I'm probably almost wanting to hold Aaron Phillips, because I've got Chelsea Randall there in my back pocket, who I expect to be bringing in probably within the next few weeks. So, yeah, they're just someone to keep an eye on still. Daisy Darcy, 44. Low score for her there, but I'm not too worried. Tough match against the Crows. I think she'll be better than that in future weeks. So I'd be holding her. And I believe that is all of the players. So got through all the games. We'll just go through a couple of questions that people have left. So if you wanted to answer a question answered just at the end here, make sure you do put it in the live chat on YouTube or below the Twitter space, and we'll answer those quickly for about 5-10 minutes. So Smith Chips has got the first one saying, I'm currently ranked 175th in official on 7241 points. Am I still in contention for a hat? I think you are, mate. I still think I'm in contention. I'm 298. So I think if still top sort of 400 or 500, it might be a couple of 100 points, but we have seen that if you can get a player that pops off for a 130, and not many other people got them, then you could get right back into it. So I'm going to quickly load up what the 100th ranked coach has got. So while I do that, I'll go to the next question, but I'll get that up for you, Smith Chips. Yep. But we'll go to a couple of other questions here. So we will go to where is it? So Brisbane Bloods Fantasy. So Edmonds an option. So we're discussing that. But what were your thoughts on Alice Edmonds there, Tom?
Oh, yeah. Like, I know you mentioned before, like, could be a trading opportunity. If you want to move on from someone like Schultz. What is she priced at? Right
971k an official. I think GameDay Squad, if you can get her in, I think that's a good option if you didn't have a Morphit and you weren't able to get your hands on Morphit. But in the official game, is that someone you'd pay for? Actually, before you answer that, I just thought I'd get the 100th ranked coach. So the 100th ranked coach is currently on 7306. So I'm about 125 points away. So for me, I feel like I can make that up in a week. I don't think I'm out by any stretch. And mate, you said you're 175th on 7241. So that you're only 65 points away. So yeah, definitely still in contention. You make up, that's only 10 points a week. That's nothing. We've seen, like, I know Jaden, for example, scored a good 100 points more than, for example, me this week. I know I didn't have a huge week, but I think I was about par. But if you can have 100 points better than par score, then there's a chance to really sort of rise. Even Jake from Hatchat, who's having a fantastic season, ranked 48th overall, he scored like 14, 20. So he scored about 40 odd points more than me this week. So just showing that if you can easily score 50 points more than most other people. So yeah, I think you're still in contention. But yeah, so go back to Alice Edmonds there, Tom.
Yeah, well, I guess you asked me about my situation, mate. I can't even be looking at my ruck right now. I have so many other positions to be worrying about. Like, I need to save as much cash as I can to be making trades elsewhere. But I guess it's just dependent, on the situation. If you aren't an Aaron Phillips owner, and if you don't have, some other players like Cordner still in your team, like, mate, it might be a move that you look at. We've got just having a look at her matchups coming up as well. Who we got next week? We got Carlton
Yes,
next week, who's
up against
has been quite a fruitful matchup.
Good and Bree Moody. So the sort of the dual team there. So I still think Alex Edmonds is a bit matchup proof as well. She can do it all. She can mark, she can tackle. She showed on the weekend she can kick goals, which she'd only kicked I don't think she kicked a goal before a game on the weekend. She kicked a couple. So maybe adding another string to her bow. So could go big there. So I think, I don't think it's like if what's the other next couple of matchups? Because even if it doesn't matter,
It's Kangas, and then it's oh no, is it? Sorry, goodness, no, I've got the wrong. Hang on, my bad. Crows.
Crows, and then she's got Brisbane. So not too bad. So I still think I'd be looking at her. I think she's definitely an option there. Brisbane Bloods fantasy for sure. Michelle's got this one here. So she's asked out of these 3 upgrades, which is probably the best to do this week. So these are the 3 upgrades she can do. Isabel Dawes to Parker, already got Marinoff, Garner, Rowbottom, and Anderson. Lucy Single or Malloy to Morrison, or Schultz to Morfitt, or can go Edmonds. My forward line, aside from Gardner, is averaging 70. So what would you be doing? Dawes to Parker, Single to Morrison, or Schultz to Morfitt?
Ooh, I'm conflicted from Dawes to Parker, Schultz to Morfitt right now. I think it's one of the two for me. I'd probably be leaning towards a midfield upgrade if I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'd be going Dawes to Parker. We just spoke about the form that she's been in. Like, if you can get her in your midfield, and what were the players she already mentioned? Like,
already
insane.
got Marinoff,
So your midfield's already
Garner,
stacked.
Rowbottom, and Ali Anderson. So I love that. That's such a good midfield. Like having Ali Anderson there's as a pod, perfect complement to the Marinoff, Garner, Rowbottom. So you
can round that off with a Parker, mate.
Yeah, that's
wow, that is
huge.
Outstanding midfield.
It's either that for me or Schultz to Morfitt, because Izzy Dawes got 100 on the weekend. So and she's got Collingwood, who are a great matchup for midfielders. I know, and Park's got a good matchup as well. So it's like, what sort of, where do you want to go? Like, it's very, very hard. But Schultz to Morfitt is the play that if you're really wanting to make that jump up, a lot of people have still got Schultz, and then a lot of people aren't going to have the 400K, sorry, over 300, 330 odd, I think it is, to get up there. I think if you can make that move, that could be a good move to get you in hat territory if you're not already. And if you are in hat territory, could push you right up into that sort of top 10, top 5 if you jumped on that, because could be, I should probably use Dawes to Parker because you're getting Parker for the rest of the season. But I do like the Morfitt play. That is one that I'd sort of wouldn't be brushing over, which I think a few people probably would, just because people just look at Schultz and see she's been going very, very well. Next one here, good friend Corey Blackledge. So he said, what option is better to risk this week? So hold Daisy Darcy against Richmond, who are by far the hardest matchup for defenders. And I think they're probably the hardest matchup. I think Liam said they're the hardest matchup for any position against any team. So not very, very good. And then get Maddie Prasparkas for Benici. And then Sophie Conway or Jessie Wardlaw. Who is better out of those? So who would you go out of Conway and Wardlaw? I'd probably go Wardlaw.
I think Wardlaw has a recent, right? But I also am a big believer in Conway. She's great. She is great. But Wardlaw. I agree. I actually going to give the edge to Wardlaw. It's just the goal kicking ability at the moment. And we spoke about an increased role.
And the fact, she's playing that increased sort of ruck time as well. Which just adds to the points. Get a couple of tackles, few touches, those hit outs, and you're golden. So I think it is her out of the two. So first option is going holding Daisy Darcy and going Benici to Maddie Prasparkas, and then getting Jessie Wardlaw. Or would you hold Benici, trade for Kennedy from the Swans for Daisy Darcy? I think if you're doing the two, Corey, I wouldn't be doing the second one. I still, actually, Daisy Darcy coming against Richmond. What are you doing? What are you doing there? Are you going?
It's a tough
Are you going?
matchup,
Are you
right?
going
With
Benici
Richmond.
to Prasparkas, or are you going Daisy Darcy to Kennedy? I'm just not sure on Kennedy though. I know I brought her in last week, but she was good. I guess she's got Port this week, so maybe make a bit more cash this week. Jump off next week.
Yeah, but I think the timing last week was a little bit nicer for it.
Yeah, because you had the
Honesty.
Carlton and Port in back-to-back weeks. So
that's tough, dude.
I think Maddie Prasparkas is the best player out of them, and I guess you're probably going to want to hold Daisy Darcy for the season. But I know Corey's top 50, and I think he's right up there. So it's like maybe trading Daisy Darcy could put up a floor score this week. Coming off a 44 is going to drop price. Maybe just get someone to make a bit of cash this week and look to make that move next week.
Yeah, I think be patient.
It's a tough one. But then again, Corey, you're ranked so high, mate. You shouldn't be asking us for advice, mate. You're doing very, very, very well. So going nicely there. Mitch Finch has got a very, very good question. I know, Fat, you're going to struggle with this one. Who is the bigger target this week? Bonnie Too Good or Elise Parker?
Who's the bigger target?
Yeah, who do you get? That's a very hard one.
It is a hard question. I am sort of leaning towards Too Good, just like gut feel, only because like the difference between an elite forward to an average forward is quite large in terms of fantasy output per game, where the difference between an elite mid to an average mid isn't as large. You know, we've spoken about some of the pod midfielders that you can put into your teams right now. And that, you know, like they're not going to score the Hatchards and like the Marinoffs and the Garners because, you know, they're just on an absurd level right now. But they're going to give you a good floor. They're going to give you triple digits or just about scoring. But you can't find a pod player like Bonnie Too Good. I'm going to be honest.
Because no one can afford it. Because no one can afford it. She's so high priced that no one can actually jump onto her. Like she's still only owned by well, it says here 20%, but I feel like it's less because I just don't hear too many people that have actually owned Bonnie Too Good. And those owners that do, they'd be sitting there very, very happy with Bonnie Too Good in their forward line. But I think this comes down to that this is we'll bring Mini Monk into this here. Team dependent. I think this becomes down to who you're trading out. If you're trading out Aaron Phillips or someone like that, it's an obvious choice. You go Too Good. But if it comes down to Phillips, if you're going Phillips Too Good or if you're going Benici to Parker, it's obvious you go Too Good. But if you're going like a Ty Smith, even a Bree Davies, someone like in midfield, or you're going a Lucy Single in your forward line up to Too Good, I think I'd rather go Davey or Ty Smith to Elise Parker. So I think it comes down to who you're trading. But I think based on probably what you're saying, I think it's probably going to be someone like a Phillips out first. I think that's where you go get Too Good, but it does come down to who you're trading out. Do a rapid fire for the last couple. We've got a couple of questions here. We'll quickly finish off here. So Brisbane Bloods Fantasy's got who are the best defenders to trade Gunjaka to? Already pretty set on my defence. Happy I traded in Park for Bowers last week, but now I'm not sure who to trade Benici to, Conti or Maddie Prasparkas. Well, I think who are you going out of Conti and Prasparkas? I think I'm Maddie Prasparkas just with the ceiling, but Mon Conti's been very consistent this season. Are you Conti over Prasparkas or where are you going?
Prasparkas over Conti. But I do agree with your point that I think Conti has like the higher base that she's putting up every week.
300s out of her 5 games, an 84 and 94. And even the tags aren't really affecting her anymore either. She's sort of just getting it done after week. And the more game time she's one of the ones that probably hasn't been spoken about too much. It's actually benefiting her. She's getting a lot more of the ball, playing more game time, raising that average from 85 to, she's averaging 100 over the first half of the season. So again, another pretty good pod because not too many people have got Mon Conti. So, but yeah, Gunjaka, she's 699. I guess if you're going to a defender, I think if you haven't got Priest, if you can afford her, Charlotte Thomas, Tani Evans, I still like Isla Shearer in there, being solid. Just we're getting over at 60 every week. Stanner, I think Carney's probably the option if you didn't have her, but I think a lot of people have got her.
Do you know who's not a bad player? Belinda Smith. I know Charlotte Thomas gets a lot of the attention out of West Coast for the defenders, but Linda Smith is just quietly doing her thing,
So
man.
what's she priced at? So she's 778, averaging 61. I think she's probably too expensive at this point. Opened the season
Yeah, she's
with
increased.
46.50 for 47. That's my only concern. But if you did jump on her after those, you probably saw into the future, because I wouldn't have jumped on Belinda Smith after 3 sub 50s. But if you did, you'd be pretty happy with that. She's owned by just the 1.86% of coaches. But yeah, any of those options, I guess Tanya Kennedy for a week to make a bit of cash playing midfield could be a play. But yeah, it is tough. You can almost hold Gunjaka just because those defenders do go up and down. So if you've got other issues, I'd probably do trade them out first. Damon's got this one. Should I be concerned about Daisy Darcy as she's going up against Tigers and is Sparks a must trade? I don't think, if you're talking about Georgie, I wouldn't be trading. I'd be definitely holding. I'm looking at targeting her this week potentially, so I wouldn't be trading. And then Daisy Darcy, it could be a smart play to trade out this week. But if you've got other issues, I think that you could deal with that instead. Final question here is coming from Terence Sue on YouTube. Says Davey to Rowbottom and Pope to Finn, or Davey to Prasparkas and Schultz to Edmonds. So where are you going? Are you getting Rowbottom for Davey and then going and doing a rookie shuffle on the bench, or are you getting Georgie Prasparkas for Davey and going Schultz to Edmonds? I think on the second option.
Sorry, can you say that again? My headset was cutting out.
So first option for Terence, he said you can go Davey to Rowbottom, which means he just has to do a rookie trade on the bench, so Pope to Finn. Or would you go Breed Davey to Georgie Prasparkas, which also allows him to go Schultz to Edmonds on the second option?
Oh, definitely the second option. Yeah, love that. If you can get the double.
It pretty much just comes down to, would you rather Rowbottom and Schultz, or would you rather Prasparkas and Edmonds? I think Prasparkas and Edmonds have got a higher floor and a higher ceiling.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, I really like that double trade with the Edmonds as well. Prasparkas, just stud. Like, didn't get the performance people wanted this week, but I'm not concerned at all. Like, she's going to.
Yeah, people are worried with Georgie after the weekend. As I said, very unlucky. A few sort of gave a couple of can't get words out. Few free kicks away, gave away 3. Just got unlucky. Few missed tackles. Ball bounced the wrong way. Melbourne are a tough matchup. That was clearly her worst score of the year. She's got 300s in her first 5 weeks. Minimum of 90% game time in every game this season. I'm not panicking at all. I still think she's going to be a top 5 midfielder. Or at least top 6. So I'm still looking at targeting her. She's dropped in cash. It could be a good time to pounce after a poor score. Essen this week could be an okay match. I know Essen are a bit tricky, but yeah, I'd be going and getting Edmonds there, Terence. And Brisbane Bloods just shared a photo, said he's doing at this stage. He's going Benici to Dowrick, Gunjaka to Hannah Priest, and Postlethwaite to Fitzgerald. Yeah, don't mind it. I know that probably Dowrick to getting Derek for Benici is probably not exactly the trade you probably want to make, but getting Hannah Priest, I think, probably alleviates that. I think I'd be making that sacrifice to go and get Priest. So yeah, I'd tick them off, mate. So, but yeah, I reckon we'll cut it there as well. Gone for nearly an hour and 20 minutes. Trying to cut it down. We just seem to just talk so much because there's just so much to talk about each week, which is always good. But Tom, mate, thanks for jumping on. I know that you play official, not as much as GameDay Squad, but have you got any sort of early trade thoughts about what you might do there?
Oh, you cheeky bugger, I just closed it. Yeah, I do though. So let me pull it up quickly. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you. But I am looking to upgrade. I'm looking to trade out Phillips.
Yep.
For sure. It was funny because as you were like saying it in the show, Georgia Nanskewin.
Yeah.
I have her.
Yep.
So she's generated a bit of cash for me at 730K at the moment. And you were like, yeah, it's probably time to trade her out. I'm thinking, yes, it is. It's definitely time to trade her out. Get some cash there. Because I need to get rid of Phillips, in all honesty. So that's the big target for me this week. Who do I go to? I've been umming and ahhing, but if I can get to a Kate Hoare, that would be awesome. But I don't know if I'm going to be out there. Singles a target I've definitely been looking at. Rose a target I'll be looking at. It's a little bit cheaper than the ladder there. Or maybe even a Paxman. We talked about the form that she's been in. She could be a great option for me to replace Phillips. So, yeah, I'll be looking at something like that. I got Goldsworthy in the forward line last week. So, another forward upgrade it's looking like. I'm going to be keeping Schultz in the ruck at the moment, and I maybe might trade Ekanjaka. I'm going to have to see what I'm going to do with my forwards first and who I commit to there.
Yeah. My trade's a bit. I'm not exactly sure. I've played around with plenty of different options. I've looked at keeping Phillips and going Aaron Hoare and Mia Bush down, getting cash and just going Bree Davey to Elise Parker. I've looked at going and getting Prasparkas for Bree Davey, going a rookie shuffle, then maybe going Aaron Phillips to someone around her price. I'm not exactly sure who that is, but just because the lack of options around her price, which is why it's so hard to trade Aaron Phillips this week, because she's at 679K and there's not really anyone around her price that I'm sort of looking at and going, yeah, that I think they're a good option, like great option to bring in. So because you probably want to bring in someone that's going to make some cash. So yeah, I'm unsure exactly what trades I'm going to do. So I'm going to have to do a bit of shuffling throughout the week, see where to go. But I'm at this stage, I'm probably holding Phillips, which sucks, but it's just more the fact that there's not really anyone, and maybe next week I'd go a couple of downgrades and look to get her up. So we'll have to see anyway what trades we do. But mate, thanks for jumping on me as always. Where can the people find you across social? Where can people sign up to GameDay Squad?
Yeah, 100%, mate. First of all, I want to send you all to GameDay Squad's YouTube channel. We do player analysis. We have an AFLW show. We release an episode every single week. We mentioned pop-out picks multiple times throughout this. Jaden's been killing it. Bailey's also been on there, just been absolute facts. His player analysis is on point. And of course, I'm trying to drag myself along with those two legends as well. So definitely come along. It's always a good time. It's always great to talk footy and to dive a little bit deeper than what we do here, because we've got to skim over the games a little bit. And as you said, we go for so long already. Couldn't imagine if you went even more in depth. But for me personally, you can find me at TommyGDS on Twitter. People ask me, what's the best way to get new cards in GameDay Squad? I have a new one for you. I'm running a competition on my Twitter every single week where I'm going to post my team, and all you need to do is guess the score that I'll get for that particular round. And if you can guess it within a plus-minus range, I'm going to give you a free card. Currently, it's Silver Kirsty Stratton, the one I have for next. So once someone wins that, I got a gold Bree Davey lined up for everyone. So yeah, I'm going to continue to do that, give away cards. So it's just a bit of a fun thing. I thought I can maybe interact with you all. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully someone can nail some guesses soon. So no one got it this week. Kirsty will be moving over to next week, and hopefully one of you legends can nail it. And with GameDay Squad, www.gamedaysquad.com.au. It's free to sign up. It's free to play. Open up your starter packs and get started. You get 3 new player cards every single week. So even if you think, oh, it's too late to sign up, we're 5 weeks in, don't worry, because if you start now, you log in every week. By the time it gets to next season, or even by the end of the year, your team will be looking so much better than what it was at the start. So it is a little bit of a slow grind, as some would say, but it's definitely a fun one. So yeah, get around it and hop in the Discord as well. I'm in there, Jaden's in there, Bales is in there, and have a chat with some of the other coaches on the platform. But wow, I rambled on there a little bit, Bales. Thanks, mate, for having me. Appreciate the time, of course. Always love coming on. And yeah, mate. Cheers,
Thanks,
legend.
mate. Yeah, and you can find me at BalesDT on Twitter and Instagram, and then at trulybailshd on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, or even if you're watching over on here, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. Make sure you give the video a like, because it does really help out so the algorithm stuff and that over there. If you enjoy the Twitter, the Twitter space, well, leave a like on the Twitter space as well. That also does help out. But thank you, everyone that tuned in live, or people listening on the replay, and especially those people that sent in their questions and plays they want to discuss. Really appreciate that. As always, we'll be back at the usual time next week of 7:30 Eastern on the Sunday night after round 6. I'll be back on Friday afternoon. I'm just going to get time, because it's different this week, because we've actually got Friday night footy now, so it's not the early start. So yeah, so 7:15 start. I'll be live at 6 p.m. Eastern, so 5:30 my time. So actually, that's the exact same time that I normally go live for the men's pre-lockout chat. So yeah, we'll be live at 5:30 this Friday afternoon. Get along. I'll hopefully get Liam on again, and we'll go through plenty of stuff as well, and chat through everything ahead of round 6. But thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. So we're out. See ya.
See you, legends. You.